Good evening, and welcome to Detour from Sanity. Tonight, we will be going over several creepy road and trucker stories from the depths of Reddit. So as always, buckle up, keep your lights on, and prepare to venture into the unsettling, because once you take this detour, there's no turning back. Are you ready to lose your sanity? Let's begin. This first story comes from Reddit user Juicy Thought Tato. Not a truck driver, but once I was driving through the Canadian Rockies late at night and had just passed through a small town. So I'm driving through the pitch black and I need to stop to pee and have a smoke. But because it's so dark, I missed the last rest stop for the next while. No problem, the highway is completely deserted. So I pull to the side of the road, have my pee while staring out into the dark, then light up a cigarette and stand by my car. As I'm standing there, I see a figure of a man just walking out of the tree line. I'm miles from civilization, patchy cell service, and there isn't a soul on the road. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me and maybe it was a deer, but nope, this was a man. So I calmly walk back to the driver's door and get in, locking the doors behind me. I'm keeping my eye on this guy as I nervously smoke and have my car in drive, ready to peel out, but for some reason, I just stay put. The guy walks up to my passenger door and knocks on the window. I crack the window and I ask, "What's up?" He replies to me in a very serious tone, "I need you to call the cops." I cautiously ask why, and he tells me he had gone out into the woods to kill himself, but he couldn't go through with it because he had a thought of his daughter right before he was about to do it. I call the cops while the guy quietly cries outside. He had a kitchen knife that he was going to use on himself, so I stayed in the car and advised them to maybe leave the knife on the ground before the cops arrived. The cops came and got him, but before they left with him, I gave him a solid heart-to-heart and wished them well. I still think about him. I hope he was able to turn things around. The second story comes from a now deleted Reddit user. I parked off an exit ramp at about 3 a.m. for my 10-hour. The moon was full and high, and I spotted an unmistakably human figure in the nearby cornfield. A little spooky, but I just wrote it off as an old-timer putting up a scarecrow for the grandkids. I started watching a few YouTube videos before turning in, and out of the corner of my vision, I thought I saw movement. I shut off my lights to get a good look, saw the figure, but nothing else. I couldn't be sure, but it looked like maybe it was a different spot. Maybe a little closer even. I was definitely feeling a bit spooked. The highway was devoid of anyone besides a car passing every 10 minutes or so. I didn't want to, but I had to jump out to pee. I considered a bottle, but I told myself I was being childish. I took a look at the figure and it was right where I figured it should be. I hop out, walk between my truck and trailer and start leaking. Every fiber of my being wanted to look. I told myself again I was being foolish, but I couldn't help it. I looked out. The field was empty. The figure wasn't there. My stomach dropped. I pinched off and jumped back in. I took off down the highway. I didn't give a shit about the violation. Stopped 40 minutes off the road at a well-lit and very full Love's. And I haven't stopped at a ramp since. This next story comes from user Sneaky Pete 66. I was driving to work on Saturday morning down the interstate. I was in the middle lane and I glanced in my side mirror and noticed a car catching me quickly. I looked over as it passed me, and in the back of the coupe was a lady banging on the window screaming for help. I sped up to them and she noticed me and started screaming again. I got behind them and followed them and could see him reaching back and hitting her. I called 911 and as I was, he sped off. As I was talking to dispatch, I caught up and he noticed me and realized I was following him. He moved over in front of me and came to a complete stop. At that point, I didn't know if he had a gun or what, so I went around him and exited. Once he went past the overpass, I got back on and followed him, but he eventually lost me as I couldn't keep up. Fortunately, I was on with 911 the entire time and the cops had already pulled him over. Eventually they got him to pull over, and when I had passed them, he was handcuffed on the ground and she was sitting there. Come to find out, it was his ex and he abducted her and was taking her to God knows where. I followed them for about 30 miles, weaving in and out of traffic and going 100 miles an hour at times to keep up. Definitely creepy thinking of what he was maybe preparing to do to her. This last story comes from Reddit user WiseCockroach4182. I was driving on a road primarily used for farm equipment, with deep ditches on either side, lined with swampy woods. It was about 1 a.m. and it was fall, so I was scanning the ditches for deer. I passed through a pocket of ground fog, and as the visibility cleared up, I saw a human figure with no legs crawling out of the ditch, only to disappear when I passed it. Before vanishing, the figure moved in a jerky, jumping way, almost like a glitch in a game. I got to the field entrance, turned my car around, and absolutely gunned it all the way home. I told people about it for a few days, then put it out of my mind, but refused to drive down that road. That is, until I was helping my boss with field work. We had to pass through the area to get to the field we were plowing. I told my boss what I had seen, and he looked at me in a strange way and told me that years ago, a local farmer rolled his tractor into the ditch and was crushed to death beneath it. To this day, I'm convinced I saw his ghost. Thank you for joining me on this unsettling journey down the dark and mysterious roads. If you enjoyed these creepy stories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Detour from Sanity for more twisted tales, and ring that bell so you never miss a ride into the unknown. Stay safe out there, and remember, the scariest things often hide just beyond the headlights. And until next time, stay on the right path, and beware of detours. Good night.